Well, joining me now is the Labour MP, Rushanara. Ali, welcome to you. Indeed, do you think it's time for Labour to sharpen up its policy rather than just saying, well, we'd like to have a general election and then we might get round to supporting people's vote?
Well, I think Labour would have had the opportunity to sharpen up its response if there was a vote on the meaningful vote on Theresa May's EU withdrawal agreement. But she's the one who's pulled that vote. And what we're waiting for is for the Prime Minister to come back to the House with that vote. She should have done it this week, given she delayed it by a week with the mess that we saw last week. So until she puts it to a vote, I don't think that we should move immediately to the public vote that many of us have campaigned for, but a number of our colleagues, quite rightly, want to see where we land in relation to the deal, so that all other options have been considered before we move to that vote.
I understand that, but the government has announced its timetable for this week. It hasn't brought back the meaningful vote. Prime Minister says she's going to do it sometime before the third week of January, and of course there's the Christmas break in between. So can Labour do anything to force things, to bring things to a head?
Well, it's in the Prime Minister's gift, and she has buckled under pressure, and she's not showing leadership. And that's why one-third of her MPs voted against her in the no confidence motion.
But given all that, isn't it time for you?
She's the Prime Minister. It's in her gift to put it to a vote, and we're urging her to do so this week.
It's in your gift to have a vote of confidence in it,
to stop wasting time. And our proposal was to seek a no confidence motion if her deal didn't succeed. Now, that is the sequence of what was agreed in the Labour Party conference with the support of the trade unions and members, and that we moved to a public vote, which I very much hope that Jeremy Corbyn and the front bench move to as soon as possible.
No, I understand that, but in a sense, if she's delaying you by not bringing this vote forward, doesn't that mean that Labour has to act first?
No, I think she needs to act first, because the country is waiting for her to put her deal that she has negotiated, her Brexit EU withdrawal deal agreement, to Parliament. She has refused to do that. That's what's going to unblock the next series of courses of action. Personally, I think we should be suspending Article 50 if her vote fails, and if a no-confidence motion doesn't succeed, because time's running out and we cannot afford to have a no-deal situation in March. That would be devastating for our country.
Now, we know you, like the other parties, you have a substantial number of your voters on one side and a substantial number of voters on the other. But there is some evidence now suggesting that if Labour shifted to an overt Remainer position, that would really give it a boost in the polls. Do you think it's time to do that?
Well, I think the right thing to do is to focus on Theresa May's deal, make sure she puts it to Parliament as soon as possible. If that fails, that we should explore all other options, including suspending, as I said, Article 50, because time's running out. What people will want to see is the government getting a grip, which has failed to do, and for senior cabinet ministers to stop posing for a future leadership contest, and taking responsibility and making sure that we don't face a situation, as Theresa May is trying to do, is to put us between a rock and a hard place with her deal or no deal. That is irresponsible and dangerous for our country.
And if you don't manage to get the general election and a second referendum or a third referendum takes place, what would Labour want the question to be?
Well, I know what I'd like to see, and I very much hope that the Labour frontbench supports that position, which is that we should have Theresa May's deal, which is the negotiated deal with the European Union. That is the Brexit deal. That is the reality of Brexit, that this country, under the Prime Minister, has been able to negotiate, that should be on the ballot, along with the option to remain in the European Union.
And would Labour campaign for Remain against that deal?
Well, I very much hope that Labour does, but that is going to be a matter for the Labour leadership and the Labour front bench, and I very much hope that we will campaign for Remain. I certainly will.
Rushanara, Ali, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Labour MP there. Well, Theresa May's statement to the